Hello everybody. Welcome to the Stream Key podcast. Starting a couple minutes late here, but not too bad considering how late you've been before. Welcome everybody to our weekly show where we talk about how to improve your streaming game if you're a streamer on Twitch or Mixer. This week we have two special guests with us. I'm really excited about that. First of all is m4gzy. Again, I hope I'm saying that right. Welcome back.
Yeah.
How you doing? Turn off the alerts really quickly. How you doing today, m4gzy? Thanks so much for being on here.
I'm good. Just slowly waking up here, even though it's already 11 o'clock.
Right.
Good to be here, though.
Awesome. Yeah. So m4gzy actually, Velok met m4gzy at a meetup, so he was gracious enough to come on the show. Really excited to have him on here with us. And speaking of Michigan streamers, we have Brihtwulf with us here as well. Briht, how's it going, man?
Going great. Thank you very much for having me on again. Good to be here with you guys.
Yeah, excited to have you. You were on for an interview show, but not the actual phone in Friday, so this should be fun.
That's right.
Yeah, and of course, I guess I got to mention this other guy, Velok. He's here too.
Some nerd.
some
me
guy
on the side of the road one day.
Part of our Brady Bunch square.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, guys, if you haven't seen it before, again, this is our Friday show. So for the next 2 hours or so, you can actually submit your own questions, and we will answer them in the chat and just kind of debate them. Generally, we have callers, but we can't do that today. So instead, if you have a question, just submit it via the Twitch chat or Discord and tag us with TRUgaming so we see it. And we'll kind of go back and forth and either work through your question if it's a question, or if you have kind of an opinion on something related to Twitch, we'll kind of give our thoughts on that as well. But to start off, I should mention also, this episode today is part of a special charity weekend we're doing. So all weekend long, we're raising money for Objective Zero, which is a charity that is trying to end essentially veteran suicide, to put it at zero. So raising money for that all weekend long, including this stream. So if you donate, you can do that during the stream, and we'll read those off as they come in. But first of all, I want to start off, actually we should start off to introduce m4gzy and Briht, I think, a little bit, because you guys are still pretty new to a lot of the people here. So let's start with m4gzy. Tell us about yourself. What kind of stuff do you stream? What's your channel about?
I am a pro Fortnite player. It's mainly what I stream, but I do a lot of variety stuff because I have a lot of fun with it. But for the most part now, I'm focusing on getting into the pro Discord and stuff, so that's kind of what my stream revolves around.
Nice.
We've actually been doing pretty well with that the past couple weeks, but that's my main game. My stream though, my main focus is high quality everything. You know, I got this DSLR camera. I spent probably $3.5 grand on a rebrand. I got like a soundboard, all that kind of stuff. It's me personally. I love the high quality stuff, so that's everything that I've done with mine.
Nice.
Yeah.
So lots of emphasis on high production value and quality with everything.
Yeah. The person that I watched that brought me into Twitch was Dr. Disrespect, and his production quality is like on a whole other level. So I just love that. Like that's an awesome thing to see. So kind of wanted to model that. So
nice. That's awesome to hear. Yeah, Dr. Disrespect, love him or hate him, his production value is insane. So
yeah,
agree with that. So cool. But great to meet you again and kind of learn more about you. I'm sure we'll go through more as the show goes on. Yeah. And Brihtwulf, again, you've been here before, but do you want to do another quick introduction about what you stream, what your channel is all about?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Brihtwulf. I am a professional Santa Claus impersonator. Oh, wait, no, not actually. That's totally a lie. I am a variety streamer and narrator. I would say voice actor, but I don't do like cartoons and stuff. I do voice work for documentaries and, boring things that put people to sleep, much like anybody who comes in and watches my stream. In general, though, I play stuff like RPGs, MMOs, and survival games, a lot of multiplayer stuff. So one of the awesome things that I focus on is interacting with my community, and that includes playing a lot with my community as well via those types of games. One of the things that drew me to TRUgaming is the fact that that's something that they're involved in too. Those survival games, Ark and Rend and all that. I'm a Rend partner. So yeah, variety of stuff and just kind of a chill morning deal and lots of coffee.
Nice. There's so many coffee streamers who are part of the True stuff now. It's hilarious. Like Velok's whole thing. Yeah, he's wearing a coffee shirt. Brit's sipping coffee over here. Half you guys had coffee for breakfast, so
Yes.
Apparently everyone loves coffee here. Cool. Well, good to meet you guys a little bit more. And again, we'll get more as the show goes on. First thing I want to start off with is Twitch news over the last week. And then after that, if you guys have questions, you can start submitting those in the chat and we'll start queuing those up. Wasn't a lot of huge news from what I saw from Twitch this week. I'm going to go quickly through. I have to look at my phone because we're using Discord, so I can't look it up on my PC. But some of the biggest things, the biggest thing of which you can see in the chat already happening is the charity stuff Twitch announced, where basically if you cheer with hashtag charity in any Twitch channel, they donate 20 cents for every 100 bits that the person donates, which is pretty cool. And you can see like the total amount, I think, for each message. You know, someone, Emerald Point, just donated in our chat, and it's now at $71,000 for Brihtwulf, which is really, really cool. Awesome. Yeah, that was probably the biggest thing I saw over the last week. A couple other small things. Twitch is doing some sort of holiday special today. I don't know what that is. Really vague about it. Probably just like a weekly, Twitch weekly type thing, would be my guess. But besides that, the Game Awards were last week, and those got really memed, I think. Not exactly Twitch related, but there were some Twitch people involved in that, and new games coming out that people might want to stream. So that was exciting. Did you guys see the Game Awards at all? Did you have a chance to see any of the videos? No?
I haven't, no.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, again, it's not like a super Twitch-specific thing as much as just gaming. But, I mean, they announced some new titles with... I'm really excited about the CTR remaster, which is Crash Team Racing from the PS1. That's coming later, which is pretty cool. There were a lot of awkward moments, too, and cringe stuff. So if you guys want to go look that up, you can go check it out.
I think you're forgetting the most important announcement from Twitch this week, and that is that on Monday, there is an Inspector Gadget marathon starting. And I'm talking the old school 1980s show from when I was alive and the rest of you probably didn't exist. So that's coming on Monday.
That's fair.
Yeah, that is true. That's pretty cool. I haven't seen Inspector Gadget in so long. I kind of forgot it existed. But Twitch is always doing cool things like that. And I've seen even more football stuff being pushed lately with, you know, last night Tim and Ninja were streaming NFL stuff again. So it's cool to see that Twitch is looking to bring weird new types of content to the platform. Not weird, but just new stuff. What do you guys think of that overall, actually? That's a good kind of starter question here. You know, they've done things like NFL and Inspector Gadget and Pokemon, Doctor Who. Britt, you like it?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, the real cool thing about it is the fact that you can interact with people, either, you know, people you don't know. What I would love to see more of is co-streaming those. So I like NFL. I think it's cool that it's on Twitch. I would love to co-stream that and watch it with my community, talk about the game, talk about the players, talk about the plays and stuff like that, specifically with people that are already interacting, you know. So I think co-streaming that content would be awesome. But I love the fact that they're bringing in, you know, a little bit more mainstream stuff, or just giving us options in general. I think it's, you know, can only help.
Right. So you'd like to see it opened up to more, not just the top 5 streamers on Twitch, essentially.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Magzy, do you have any thoughts on just the new types of stuff Twitch is trying out?
I like it. It's a cool way, like you said, they stream Pokemon and stuff like that, so you can go meet people that also enjoy that kind of stuff. But like you said, like it'd be cool to stream that on your channel and interact with. I have that same thing with it. That'd be really cool to do. But right now, it's only the big streamers that are able to do that.
Right. Yeah. It's just the sponsored stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Unfortunately, it'd be nice if Twitch made a turn into smaller streamers at some point. Would be kind of nice.
Yeah. Actually, that's one thing we should touch on too at this point.
Yeah.
A lot of discussion around discoverability again on Twitch over the last week I've seen. So, but Valak, any other thoughts on all the new stuff that Twitch is trying out?
I think it's great. It's like everybody else has said, like co-streaming would be cool. I think it'd be cool if they started introducing like UFC stuff. Like if they made it so you could like co-stream a UFC fight, like I would love to watch the UFC fights with my people. Like that would just be, that sounds like so much fun.
I feel like I've seen some fighting. Well, okay, there was a lot of illegal fighting streaming I've seen before.
Yeah, I bet.
I don't know if that was legal, but it's definitely happened before. So
right.
I wouldn't be surprised though if they try to do stuff like that. And I saw even like I follow League of Legends, and they did some weird UFC cross promotion stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised to see UFC want to get into Twitch, because there's probably some audience overlap there too.
Absolutely.
Sweet. Cool. Well, that's most of the stuff I saw. There's some other small things that aren't really Twitch specific as much as just casters doing things. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Ninja released like a music album with other artists. Did you see this?
Yeah.
It's called Ninja Works. What do you guys think of that? Because that's definitely not been done before, as far as I know. So, Vo, what are your thoughts on that?
I wish it was better.
Did you listen to it?
Yeah, I did listen to it. It's on Spotify. It's not my kind of music. I don't know, but
Right.
I feel like he had a little bit of a heads up with the whole TOS things changing with the like. I feel like that's why he did it. But no, I think it's cool. I mean, it's different to see like streamers changing things up like that and starting to actually make music for their stream. Like it's cool. I just wish it was better.
Did he actually do anything though, or is it just like kind of another almost sellouty thing where it's like he's been in some commercials and stuff for some kind of phone or something, and it's like you see Ninja in places where you're like, why is it? Well, because they wanted him to be, so they paid him. He's just kind of like,
YouTube Rewind,
random stuff now.
Yep. He was on the first track. I don't know if it was actually him singing or the artist just took like cuts of his stream, but his voice is in the first track. It's like, so-and-so featuring Ninja, which is really weird.
Right.
It wasn't a great track. I listened to it. I agree with Bell on that. So he did do something. He didn't just slap his logo on it and release it, but kind of that's really what he did, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that anything that Ninja does like that's out of the box, like commercials, music, is good for Twitch and everybody as a whole, because you're tapping into other audiences and bringing them over to Twitch, which makes them look around and find more people, So I think it's a good thing. I didn't listen to it. I don't know if the music's good, but when he does stuff like that, it's good for Twitch as a whole.
Yeah, that I agree. I think trying out new ways to expand the platform and just new things that haven't been done before, that's cool to see him doing stuff like that and not just kind of sitting there and, like Britt talked about him doing weird things like Samsung ads and appearing in weird places. And it is kind of strange, but it's also new stuff that maybe it'll make it more mainstream, and we'll see it happen more with other streamers.
They did the stream with Ninja and the guy, Justin Roiland, who voices Rick and Morty, and some rapper who I can't remember the name of.
Logic.
And that was terrible. They did not go well together. It felt like super forced. So, I mean, it's cool that they are pushing the envelope and kind of including Twitch in more places, but that it can also kind of fall flat sometimes. And I think that particular instance is an example of maybe not getting the right people together. It's like they just sort of threw it together last minute. And they were like, it's cool. Let's get these famous people and just stick them in a room together.
Was that something that someone else put together, or did Ninja kind of, I don't know if you know the details of that. But.
No, it was Bethesda did it it was Fallout 76, and they were trying to kind of bring more light to the game, which is fine. But they took these people that really didn't fit together other than the fact that they were all famous. So
yeah, I've definitely seen that. That makes sense.
It was a weird mix for sure.
Yeah, Ninja definitely, I mean, he may have some weird situations, but he's probably played with more famous people than anybody else, I would guess, on Twitch. So at least, kind of going back to what Magzy said, there's that aspect where he's kind of pushing the envelope a little bit, trying out new things.
If I was Ninja, every 2 weeks at least, I would have somebody famous on playing with me. Like a couple times a month, I would do that. If you're Ninja's level and you have that reach, I would have somebody famous, like
get Obama on there.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, Obama. There you go.
He does it a lot from what I see. I mean, I don't watch his stream, but it seems like every time I see him on Twitch, it's streamed with such professional football player or some artist or something. So I think he does.
I honestly don't even get the appeal of Ninja. Frankly, I'm not quite sure why he's so crazy popular. I mean, he doesn't seem super amazing to me, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think the audience plays a big part in it, just in terms of, there's a lot of memes about, the roast. People were saying that his audience is under 8 or whatever, or 9-year-olds. And that's a joke, but like, honestly, there's probably some truth to that just because of the nature of the audience of Twitch.
Or the audience of Fortnite, maybe?
Well, yeah. I mean, same thing, right?
Whoa.
Yeah, not just, but like the vast majority, if you looked at all the users on.
There are a lot of younger players in the game. Yes. It's not everyone, obviously.
Well, it's free.
Pros are not 8 years old. We'll tell you that.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I think sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think that it was circumstance. Like, Fortnite exploded, which made Ninja explode because he was known as the top player. But if you notice, like, there's other people that are considered the best players now that are getting close to surpassing him. So you might not see him as the top streamer for much longer. But he was known as the top Fortnite streamer, and Fortnite's just everything right now. So that's why he's big. I don't think it really has to do with any special content he's doing.
So you think it's just a matter of being in the right place at the right time, basically?
Yep. Yeah, I think that's exactly what catapulted him. And then him playing with Drake was a huge thing, and then now he just kind of keeps doing more with that. So
yeah, for sure, that definitely helped. I agree with that. But I feel like he was pretty intentional about that. I mean, he couldn't have known that Fortnite would be where it is today, but he definitely set out to be the top Fortnite streamer, and that really paid off in a way he didn't expect.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, anyway, that was long ranting all about Ninja, but all coming back to the music album, which just happened over the last week, so got to be sure to cover that. Not much else that I saw from this week. Last thing that was kind of just interesting to me was that I saw a Twitch ad for Twitch this week, which was really weird. So I think it was for the whole like Blizzard of Bits promotion, which was you would buy a sweatshirt and get some free bits or something. So Twitch was running video ads of that deal on their platform, which I just never seen before. I don't know if you guys have seen any weird Twitch ads or anything.
It's crazy because they never will say anything that they're about to like actually do. So the fact that they're announcing it somehow is better than nothing.
That's true.
Yeah, usually it's a surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they
don't know about it until it's already like passed.
By the way, this is already happening.
Yeah,
it's already over actually.
Right. I guess they did like the NFL ads because there's a lot of those, but just interesting to see that Twitch is running ads to their own audience. Not sure to think about that. But anyway, did you guys see anything else that we missed over the last week in terms of Twitch or just streamer news in general? Anything big?
I don't know about the past week, but have you guys talked about that Article 13?
Yeah, we talked about it last week. We can go back into it because it's a big thing for a lot of...
To be honest, I know some, but what's your guys' thoughts and what's it exactly about? Because I've heard so many people mention it to me, and it just makes it sound like you could lose like a lot of streamers on Twitch just from the EU side, right?
Yeah, basically it comes down to Twitch is going to have to assume liability for any copyrighted content out of the EU that's on their platform. And because of that, they're probably likely to either just ban certain streamers from the EU, probably a lot of streamers from the EU, or severely limit certain types of content because they just don't want to be liable. And it's very hefty fees for anything that's like that. So yeah, it puts Twitch in a bad spot if they have to go into something like that. And because of that, they're probably going to be forced really to kind of drop a lot of support for EU streamers. So that's why it can be a really big deal. And I don't know all the super granular details of it, but that's sort of the high level overview of it. Have you guys heard any more discussion or things that I'd mention?
I just was curious if it, like you said, it's either stop people from streaming out of EU or set a blanket rule across everybody, which kind of really impacts everybody that streams. So
yeah. The Twitch last week sent out the letter from their CEO to all the emails. Yeah. One of the things that he said in there was that, we're an American company and you might think, well, this only affects the EU, but it's likely that if it gets passed in the EU and put in place that it comes here next and we develop similar laws. So that kind of makes sense. It's something to keep in mind. Plus, I mean, for any streamer, even if you're in North America and you're a streamer or a company, I mean, probably a decent chunk of your audience is from the EU that's watching the platform. So that's going to limit them as well. Because if you're streaming copyrighted content from America and they're consuming it in the EU, then that's going to impact them in some ways. So there's a lot of nuance there. The question
would be, is this similar to like the DMCA stuff where it requires a complaint to be filed? Like with music, the digital copyright stuff, if you play music in the background on your stream, there's this idea from a lot of people, especially when they start off streaming on Twitch, that if I play some Mariah Carey or something, as an example, in the background while I'm playing, I'm going to get banned on Twitch instantly because they scan my videos and they're going to ban you. Well, in reality, that's not at all how it works. While you aren't allowed to stream copyrighted stuff, and you really shouldn't if you can avoid doing it, you're not going to get banned. What actually, the only thing that will happen is that Twitch does check your videos and they'll mute the part of your VODs only, not live. They will mute your VODs that has copyrighted music. If you don't use something like Monster Cat. but you're not going to get a ban unless the rights holder for that song, specifically that song, contacts Twitch in writing and says, this person streamed this song on this date at this time, and you need to bring it down. That will give you a strike. That will put you on their list, and that will get you a temporary ban. You do it 3 times and you're gone. But this all requires some sort of thing to be sent in writing. And if the EU has a similar requirement, I don't know that it's going to have much of an effect on anything at all.
I think the big difference is that in that situation, like right now, you're right. It's very unlikely you get banned because there's so many accounts on Twitch. It's not worth people's time. The difference is now Twitch is liable. So, you know, instead of going after individual accounts on Twitch, you're just going after all the copyrighted content on Twitch in the EU. So it's much easier to target them, and Twitch just doesn't want to be liable to any sort of that stuff. So they would just shut out any sort of issue that would cause that. Does that make sense? So much bigger target.
To see like how it actually plays out. Like, will it be that serious, or will it be kind of minor like the current copyright stuff?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not a copyright expert. I haven't looked through all the details of the bill and all that, but from what I hear and from what I've seen, it could be pretty serious for not just Twitch, by the way, but you know, YouTubers and anyone making content that has copyrighted stuff, which
Mixer, everybody would be liable for.
Most people. Yeah, so hopefully it doesn't get all the way through, or I don't know where it is in the process right now, but hopefully it doesn't happen. That's what I'll say. But yeah. Did you have something to say there too?
Oh no, I was gonna say, like, obviously, like, they think it's gonna be a big enough deal to send out an email to everybody from the CEO and be like, you guys should bring attention to this.
Right. Yeah, he definitely, I've seen a few of those from YouTube is really pushing it. I mean, they've made like a video series on it. So they're definitely in there. Want to get that kept up on the EU as well. All right, so let's go through the questions. I know we've had a lot of questions, chat, and if we missed yours, feel free to re-ask it because chat's been moving. Love all your faces. So, Whiskey Crayon says, what are 5 things a brand new streamer needs to focus on to hit the ground running? Good question. So, for a brand new streamer, for you guys, I'll start this with Briht, actually. What are your kind of top 5 tips to remember when you're starting your stream?
Top 5 tips. I would say that consistency is key for sure. So a schedule first and foremost, because if they don't know when you're there, they don't know when to watch. So that's kind of a big one. Interaction is another thing that I say a lot of new streamers fall flat on. So you'll get people who basically just kind of turn their webcam on and stare at the game they're playing and don't talk, don't interact. And I think that's kind of an issue there. In addition to that, I think quality then kind of starts to come in, where you've got to make sure that both, you know, your video, your PC, your audio, your microphone, or whatever you're using is good enough that at least you're clear. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but then quality kind of comes in. And then from there, I don't know if I've got like a 5th specifically, but like what do you offer? You know, your personality, your you know, your attitude, your whatever you might want to say that kind of starts to make you, what makes you different from everybody else, and focus on that. But once you've got, you know, consistency, schedule, and quality down, then just kind of start focusing on what makes you and build yourself from there. Right.
Yeah, that's great points. Let's this is a lot. So let's simplify this down to 1, because I mean it's easy to get wrapped up in 5, but like if you're gonna put it down to 1 point, what would your top point be for someone who's very new to streaming?
I would say that consistency, dedication is probably number 1. The first thing I said, you know, be there, be dedicated to your stream, be dedicated to your viewers.
Gotcha. Yep. Maxie, you're nodding your head over there. Would you have the same one?
Yeah, for me, I put mine on quality, but it's the truth. It's consistency. People have to know when you're going to be on, even if it's 2 days a week. You have to be on those 2 days a week, or if you're going to go every day of the week, you gotta stick to it. Like, that's all it boils down to. So people know when to come back and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, that just kind of trumps everything else in terms of people knowing when to come watch you. Doesn't matter how good your stuff is if they don't know when you're live, right?
Yeah, and then it's figuring out, like he said, like what kind of streamer you want to be. Do you want to try and go for a pro level? Do you want to be more of a like casual? Do you want to be a variety? Do you want to pick one game, learn it, and master it? Like, it's figuring all that out before you go. So
right. Yeah, great points. Velok, what's your take here?
I think kind of showing off your personality is a really big one. It's really easy to just start streaming and then just kind of figure it out as you go. But if you need to start like expressing yourself while you're live, just because everybody has some sort of personality. So, and that's the only thing that's going to make you any different from everybody on Twitch is you. So, like, yeah, it's important to have like all those things that they said are important. And I think showing off who you are and how you're different than other people, like not necessarily finding your niche, because I don't know if that's really a thing anymore on Twitch. It's really hard to be different because there's just so many people streaming. So the only thing you can do is just be genuine and just express that. That's my thing.
Yeah, gotcha. It's kind of similar to consistency too. I mean, you can be consistent in your personality and your whatever you're communicating to. It's not just schedule. So agree with that point. Thank you for the question, Whiskey Crayon. I like that name. Meemaw has a really interesting question. So she says, if each of you could start streaming over, so basically start your whole channel over, what would you do differently now, looking back? I'll kick this off to Velok first. If you were to start from day one, 0 following, start all over, would you do anything differently?
I would focus on making friends before I start streaming. I would, that way you can like, kind of like, you're already like in some communities and you already have friends that like will help like kind of boost that initial, because if you just start streaming and you don't know anybody on Twitch, it's going to take a long time, which is what happened to me. Like I didn't know anybody and I just started streaming and it took a long time. But I think getting that initial boost of just the core Twitch friends on there is a really good idea. So that's probably the first thing I would do, is just not even worry about Twitch at all. Like not even worry about streaming at least.
Right. Yeah, that's big. I mean, I see a lot of people who, you know, they've been on Twitch for a while and just networking and making friends, and then they decide to stream after, you know, whatever, 2 years on the platform, and suddenly they've got all these viewers right off the bat. People who want to be there, who are just their friends. That's a great point. Magzy, what are your thoughts on this? If you just start all over, would you do anything differently?
To be honest, I'm still like a newer streamer. I've only been streaming since April, and I feel like everything I've done, I've learned from. So I feel like the only thing that I would change differently if I started over is I actually rebranded to a different name, a shorter name. I feel like I regretted using the name that I had before. It was long, nobody could pronounce it, it was hard to remember. And I swapped off that and had to pay a lot of money to rebrand to what I have now. That's the only thing that I would go back and change, is having something simple, short, that people can remember as your Twitch name. But other than that, like, I'm glad for everything. Every decision I've made either has worked out for me or I've learned from it. So I don't think I'd go back and do much other than that. So,
what was your name?
It was my last name, M4gzy TV, which is I would go ahead and try and spell that, like, and then when you do spell it out, like, and everybody butchered it. It was a really hard thing for people to pronounce, remember all of it. So I kind of swapped off that and had to do a whole rebrand, which was a little unfortunate because you'd go to people's channels that you would only hang in a little bit, and they like you'd have to tell them this is me, and like some people wouldn't remember and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I see a lot of people who have crazy names, and some of them do rebrand, and they have to go through that process, like you said, of, hey, by the way, this is me. I know I've told you 5 times, but you probably forgot again. And I agree that having a short name is really helpful, because I find that in the online space, a lot of people shorten people's names anyway. So like I just get called Green instead of GreenChord, or Velok is Vel. Brihtwulf gets called Brit probably. So the shorter your name is, the easier it is to just be very iconic. I would say. It's a good point there. Brihtwulf, if you had to start over, would you change anything about your stream?
Well, I probably would have started off with some speech therapy instead of using my real voice. It took me like 6 months to realize I shouldn't talk like this, and that I should actually use a better, more professional voice. So really, seriously though, I don't think there's anything that I would probably change. I was given advice when I first started by someone who was like just getting partner at the time, and they kind of set me up in a nice direction initially. They told me some really good advice on getting started. So day one, I kind of went, set a schedule and, you know, be consistent, start picking the right games for myself. So had I not had that, I may have stumbled a lot more than I did. But because I got off with the right advice and input in the beginning, I've been really happy with my start. So, you know, taking advice from people is pretty useful.
Yeah, I think all three of you brought up good points there in terms of, you know, whether you're very new like m4gzy or you've been doing it for a while, going through problems and, you know, working through solutions and finding those is part of the process. So, I mean, everybody has to do that to some point. You're never going to get the perfect start to your stream. So that's important to remember. But I also, you know, you mentioned it sarcastically, but the voice thing is actually pretty true. I know Velok and I have worked through this. m4gzy, maybe you have too. But, you know, when you start streaming versus when you get more experienced, you realize that you're not talking the most clearly, or you could be taking more breaks or something, or you're talking too fast. And that is something I think a lot of streamers learn through reviewing themselves over time. So I agree with that.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else to add on this point, guys, before we jump to the next question?
No.
No? Sweet. Meemaw, thank you for that. I do appreciate it. And again, guys, if you guys asked a question, please tag at TRUgaming so I see it in that whole red bar there, because there's a lot of chat and I'm probably missing some questions. So if I missed it, just feel free to re-ask it. You're not going to hurt my feelings.
Speak up.
Yes, speak up indeed.
I'm an old man. I don't hear very well.
So kind of a follow-up to Article 13, Millennium just made a comment that couldn't an argument be made for streaming copyrighted things to the games themselves? So is it copyright to stream a game that is copyrighted? Does that make sense? So not even just like music or others, you know, because everything's copyrighted. Is it even legal to stream games at all once the Article 13 passes?
I think a lot of games rely on streamers at this point, like to get their game out there. So I don't think that would ever really be an issue, because you know,
think
most
they would
games,
want that.
Yeah, like streaming's become huge, and most people want those streamers out there showing people their games.
Yeah, there are a little bit of weird issues with that, because so that makes you think of music, and one thing I'll see with music a lot is that if people are using music in their YouTube channel or their Twitch, and they get, you know, a DMCA or something, and it's taken down, the quick argument is, well, I'm promoting your stuff for you, or hey, you should be thanking me for publicly getting your stuff out there. When, I mean, it is sort of at the artist or the developer's discretion at the end of the day. You can't just like assume that you're helping them by streaming it or putting videos up, but it is a good question. And I think that most developers who are, you know, not stuck in the past are looking to streamers and YouTube and content creators to help promote their stuff. So I don't think that'd be an issue with Article 13, but maybe some fringe, like Nintendo comes to mind with some of their old stuff. They might be involved there.
Yeah, this seems to be really in the hands of the music industry, which they've been the more vocal complaining aspect of, don't play our music without paying us a bunch of money. And it's been that way for a while. Let's hope that maybe that trend kind of dies away, because really, if you do think about it, yes, they could be maybe selling more by letting people stream some of their music or talk about it, or, and I don't know. In the end, it doesn't seem as big of a deal as they kind of want to make it, but they see it as a threat to their money, and you threaten somebody's money and they start to make a big stink about it. So it's understandable.
It's true. I mean, and music artists do have it kind of tricky to make music ever since the digital stuff, and to make a living off of music. I think that's pretty factual. But I don't think this is the right way to fix it, if that makes sense. So anyway, good follow-up point there, Millennium. Thanks for that. So Angry Dragon Lady, who, by the way, is Gringa Veli. I don't know if you know that. She said, I recently started to try a total rebrand. So going back to rebrand. I started a Mixer channel, and I see the traffic for my game is really low, which blows my mind since on Twitch I am buried by hundreds. How do you think I can boost my channel in a low traffic game on Mixer? So good point. You know, you're streaming Overwatch, for example, on Mixer versus Twitch. On Mixer, you're going to stand out a lot more just because there's few people streaming that game. So basically the question is, how do you think you can boost your channel in a low traffic directory in general? I don't think it's specific to Mixer, but if you're in kind of a medium to low directory, do you think there are some tactics you can use to help bring your channel up a little bit more in the directory? I'll start on this with M4gzy, actually. I know you stream Fortnite, which is the complete opposite of a low saturation game, but just any thoughts in general on kind of helping your channel to rise up to the directory a bit?
I guess I don't, like, you're trying to bring people in on a game that doesn't have many people streaming it? Is that what the question is?
Yeah, basically, you know, she's moved to Mixer, and she's found that streaming the same game, she's being higher in the directory because there's less competition. But it's sort of the same thing as if you were to stream a smaller game on Twitch, that it's just not as saturated. Like, in general, when you're trying to move up through a small directory, do you have any kind of thoughts on how you can boost that process a little bit?
To be honest, I don't know if there is. I feel like if the game doesn't have many people in it, I don't know of a way that you really could bring them in unless he has something to say. let's listen.
All right, go ahead.
I have an idea.
Okay. Yeah.
I play those games. That is what I do. I play those games. I don't really play a lot of huge titles. I don't touch Fortnite or PUBG or any of that top stuff. So actually, there are some tactics. Title and your little screeny shotty thumbnail, huge things. So your overlay, if you have a cluttery or nasty or ugly overlay, fix it. Because that's, people see that little thumbnail of you. If you're using a cam, make sure you are visible. If you know, it sounds silly, but there are some people who might just stop into your stream because you're a female gamer, Gringa. So make yourself visible and you'll get some extra views that way. Make your title something interesting. Don't just say Overwatch and then the character you're playing. You know, be a little more creative. Make it silly. Make it something kind of interesting about you. Make it in some way enticing. If you're a funny, silly person, make the title funny and silly. You know, those little things actually, they can make a difference. So title and then what your thumbnail looks like.
Gotcha.
That would be my suggestion, because I play those kinds of games.
Yeah, good points. Thumbnail's kind of hard to get right on Twitch in some ways because it just pulls sort of randomly, but
it comes down to your overlay mostly, because whatever you're showing when you're playing the game, focus really heavily on that. Make it so that it's not ugly and cluttered, and make sure something good kind of stands out. Like I said, and being a girl gamer playing with a cam could get that extra little nudge in views. So just saying.
Fair. I don't want to follow this up because she made a few extra comments. I think sort of related to this problem is she's talking about a game where she sort of hit the cap because it's so small. So imagine like a single player game that's kind of old is a good example. You know, maybe Skyrim or something small where like you're at the top of the directory, but you've got 12 viewers. Like, what do you do in that situation where you just, you know, there's no one more to pull through? You either have to go to external platforms or do something new to kind of bring people to that platform. Do you think it's possible to do that? Or are you sort of stuck once you hit that top spot with very low viewers? Vel, what are your thoughts?
You can't really force people into a directory. Like, it's already difficult to pull people into your stream, but there's no way to communicate with people to bring them into a specific directory. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, I could go and try to stream Sonic from like the old Sega, and I might get a couple viewers or whatever. But it would not be a good decision. Like, I might want to play that game, I might want to stream that game, but if you're looking to get viewers, the games that don't have an audience are not the games to be streaming.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, yeah, those type of games are for the community you already have.
Yeah,
exactly.
You
So
could
you got to
rotate
focus
a
on
little
building.
bit, perhaps. So let's say Witcher 3 has better viewers at the moment. Those games have a lot in common, Skyrim and Witcher 3. So if you are a variety streamer, maybe rotate a little bit and like play a little Witcher 3 and then say, hey guys, how about a little Skyrim after a few hours? You may swap over. So there's rotation could help a little bit, but yeah, you're not going to get people to come into a dead directory. That's definitely not going to happen.
Yeah, so it kind of comes down to like what your goals are for your channel, right? Or for streaming a certain game. Because, I mean, you can do that stuff, but if your goal is really to grow your channel and bring in more viewers, then going into a directory with a very low cap on viewers is not going to help that for you. So that's a good question to think through. And Gringa, I'm glad you bring that up because I think a lot of people fall into that category where maybe they're at the top of the directory for a very small game, but they just kind of hit the cap and they don't understand why they're not growing anymore. And it's just sort of a hard limit with Twitch, especially because, you know, we touched on it a little bit already, but Twitch's Discover features are still not the best. So it's going to be tough for people to find new games to watch once they're already kind of locked into what they want to see, I think.
Yeah. I think the opposite of that is also a problem where you're oversaturated and you have to try and grow in that. And, I think that's a big problem, especially with games like Fortnite, when you have thousands of people streaming it and you're way low on the list, and it's a hard thing to try and get through.
Yeah. Do you guys want to touch on that a little bit, actually? I think it'd be cool to talk through, especially, so Magzy, you are a pro Fortnite streamer, so I'm sure you've waded through this a little bit because easily the most saturated game on Twitch right now. What's that kind of been like, and what have you kind of learned along the way? My
advice is, I feel like when it comes to Fortnite, the only way you're going to make it big or grow is if you play at a pro level. My way that I've grown to where I am now is always find streamers that are around your size and that you enjoy, and you play with them and you tap into each other's communities, and you keep doing that and growing until like you're bigger. But I think the only way to really make it as a Fortnite streamer is to play at that pro level, because that's like it's really hard to get there without that. But playing with people around your size is a huge thing to do when you're trying to grow saturated. Gotcha. So collaborating and cross promotion is really big in that kind of middle ground there. Yeah, definitely. And you know, Velok, I know you're kind of in this situation too. You stream a lot of Fortnite. Have you kind of felt those effects too?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I first started streaming Fortnite, my mindset was going to be, and it still kind of is, like I'm a little bit different of a streamer for Fortnite than most streamers, just because I focus a lot on speaking with chat. I know Magzy does this as well. I'm not saying Magzy doesn't do this, but there are a lot of streamers on Fortnite that don't really read chat as much, and they only focus on the gameplay. But I think it's good to stand, like, I think I stand out a little bit more than other streamers do in the Fortnite directory, just because I try to at least be engaging with my audience. I try to have fun. We still do funny things and everything. But one thing I did realize is that a lot of people will leave if you're just not good at the game. And so I've been definitely been getting better at the game, which has been helping me out quite a bit. So I think he's totally right. You do need to be at like a pro level, or you do need to be somewhat good at the game, or else people aren't going to care. Like they really won't. Yeah.
I mean, it's true, because if you look at, I would say Tim is probably the biggest example of a funny streamer who's in Fortnite, but he's still good at the game. You know, it wouldn't be enough for him to just be the funny guy who always dies. He does still occasionally pop off and play pretty well. So it does matter.
That he had an audience that he brought in. Like, you can do that. Like, if you have a big audience in another game and you bring it into Fortnite, you can do well. But like, to start from the bottom and make it in Fortnite, I mean, you got to like play and win in one of these qualifiers or tournaments or something like that, and then you explode. But like,
right. Yeah.
You can't just come out of nowhere, probably. And I am one of the streamers who avoids those games. So anything that's in like the top 10, I'm not a pro streamer. Now, if I'm playing something like, I don't know, a game I normally play and I'm up to like 70 something viewers or whatever, I can go over at that point, and like my viewers are going to carry over, and I'm going to be a little higher up in a directory of something like Fortnite or whatever. But I didn't start there. I'm not a pro. You know, people aren't going to come in to watch my skills because I'm just going to get shot up. You know, I don't really play those games in the first place. But, you know, I heard advice when I was starting off, because I occasionally play League of Legends. It's not Fortnite, but it's in the top area of Twitch. And I would play League of Legends with my brother-in-law and stuff. I typically don't stream it, though, because too many people in the directory. And I actually had the benefit of talking briefly once with, I don't know if anybody knows who Skara is. He's a former pro League of Legends player. And I said, you know, what do you think about streaming League of Legends? And he said, well, are you any of the following three things? A pro or former pro, a coach or former coach, or a hot girl? And I said, nope, none of the three. And he said, then don't. He said, you're not going to do it. So because it's just, there's too much competition. And if you're not a pro or a great player, they don't, most of the people watching, they don't want to watch you stink at the game. So it's kind of not a good idea. And the exception obviously is you got the guys who just coming in looking for a pretty face. So you can make something out of yourself there, but if you don't fall into those categories, it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can get some moderate success, even if you're not the greatest of the game. If you have, you know, I follow one guy who, I mean, he's diamond, which for anyone who's not familiar with League, is like the top
Not bad.
15, 10% or so, which is not like, you know, he's not in tournaments or anything. But he supplements that with really high production value and green screen and crazy camera effects. So, I mean, you can do things like that, but you're never going to get to that top percent in a game like Fortnite or League or Overwatch without being really, really good at the game.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Even if you're a girl streamer, I think that still kind of holds true.
Yeah, you have a lower ceiling. I mean, you can make something out of yourself to an extent and kind of get like a medium followership. But if you're not great, you're going to hit that ceiling. You know, that's where the great ones are really good at the game. That's where you excel.
Right. Yeah, and this actually leads really good into our next question, which is from Lady Grimm. She says, "Well, it's obvious there's a female presence on Twitch. There's no denying that as predominantly a male population. Agreed. It can be quite toxic too. What advice would you offer to a female viewer contemplating starting a stream or continuing one?" I wish we had a female streamer with us on the panel today to talk through this too. But quickly, like, what are you guys' thoughts for? I'm sure you have female viewers who have thought about streaming before. What would you kind of say to that person going into this? I'll start with Velok on this one.
Be ready to get some trolls for sure. You're gonna have some people that are coming in and saying some really, really awful things. Like Dragon Lady said, get the ban hammer ready. It's really just about like you have to kind of separate yourselves from the comments. You can't let it get to your head. Like for me, it's like I used to. So I get a lot of trolls every once in a while.
no, that was my bear. Sorry.
That's the trolls coming in, growling.
Yeah. So I used to get trolled a lot. It used to get to me, and you just gotta separate yourselves. Like now, I laugh at them. Like if I think that they got me, like someone trolls me, and I'm like, oh man, that one that hit me here. Like I'm gonna laugh at them. I'm like, you did a good job, and by the way, you're banned. So, so you just gotta be ready for it, and you have to just roll with the punches basically, and just, you know, have that ban hammer ready. Like this is for every streamer. This isn't just for females. This is literally everybody. Like it's gonna happen regardless of who you are, what you look like. You're gonna get it.
Right. You just see a lot more of it as a female streamer, probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Agreed.
You got two ways to go as a female streamer. You can go the route to play off of your looks and say, you know, okay, I'm gonna put on makeup, I'm going to wear low-cut shirts, I'm going to play off the female end, I'm going to get the guys coming in for viewership that want to see a girl for, you know, somebody pretty to look at, and you can play off of that and try to grow that way. Now, you're going to have to deal with more toxicity that way, and you're going to have to develop a pretty thick skin because you're now selling yourself as that, you know, I guess not, I don't want to say sex object, it sounds really dirty, but like you're going off of your physical looks as a selling point. And so that's going to be a relatively difficult road. Or frankly, if you're going to go the route of just a gamer that is a girl and not base your growth or your extension of your stream off of your looks, do what everybody else does. There's really no reason to go any other route. You are, like Velik says, though, you're just going to have more moderation. So try to make sure you don't tolerate any of that toxicity. Get yourself some good mods. Build yourself a nice community that understands that's who you are. So you can go either of those routes, but I don't think you really need to do too much other than maybe be more troll conscious if you're going the normal girl gamer route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are good points there. I mean, I like that you bring up the multiple routes because it seems like everyone kind of thinks of that first one, and that's, you know, like
don't have to be that way.
The cliche route. You're at right, but there are different ways to do it. And I've actually seen people a lot of girls who will kind of, what's the word? Kind of like parody it a little bit in their growth. You know, even if they're doing like, there was one famous clip of some girl who got asked what her cup size was, and she pulled up like her big gulp cup. Was like, oh, I think it's like a large or something. There's a lot of
sense of humor about it. That's a fantastic way to combat trolls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of like that. Right. There's a lot of girls who are thinking through like new ways to respond to that. That's really funny, actually. So you can do it. Maxi, what are your thoughts on, you know, female streamers starting to get onto Twitch and getting ready for everything that they're going to run into?
My advice is exactly what I did, and you find a female streamer that you like, you watch them, and you try to embody what they do. Like, go to Kitty Play's stream. Like, she has a whole community set just for girl streamers. Like, try and get involved in that community. Like, watch other bigger girl streamers, see what they do, and just, I mean, that's what I did. I pick streamers that I like, I study them, and I try and take aspects of their stream and put it into mine. You just do the same thing. If you're a girl streamer, that's all you got to do. You just find what other girl streamers are doing. You know, try and pick things that you like that they do and do it yourself. There are like Kitty Plays does have a role model. Like Kitty Plays just have a really awesome girl streamer community that I think is open to pretty much everybody. So you just try and get involved in that. And that's all you got to really do.
Yeah, great points. I mean, it is still new. I mean, there still aren't a ton of girl streamers on Twitch compared to guys, but we're fortunate now that there are some female streamers who have kind of made it successful. So, you know, if you are starting new, that is a good way to kind of get some inspiration and probably some guidance of stuff you run into. You don't have
to go the pretty girl route, though. You can see there are examples of serious female streamers that have been successful. So, you know, don't feel the need to like fall into that cleavage trap, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah. I will say that from what I've noticed, it seems like girl streamers have an easier start, but it seems to me like they have a ceiling almost, which is a little sad. Yeah. So like have an easier start, but you're going to have a harder time breaking that ceiling. And it's just unfortunate. So like I said, I would pay attention
to that with skill though. If there was a great pro female Fortnite streamer, I think she would, that ceiling I think might have something to do with, you know, that skill ceiling though too. So if you do have the skill in a game, you know, follow that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's pros and cons to both sides for sure. And I think you shouldn't be afraid of that. You know, Megzy, you mentioned that that initial boost you kind of get, that higher floor, right? That might kind of annoy people, but I think you should kind of use it as much as you can and be grateful that you have that opportunity. Not like in a mean way, but it can help you kind of kickstart your stream a little bit if you use it wisely.
You got to take advantage of everything you can. Like it's like streaming's highly competitive, so any kind of advantage you have, you got to use it. So.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with accepting the fact that you're a female streamer and some people might come in because of that fact. Not that you have to sell out because of it, but just accept that and say, yeah, okay, some guys are going to stop in because I'm a girl and I'm going to get a little bump in my initial rating. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's all your choice on how to handle it.
Absolutely. Lady Grim, great question. Thank you for that. And hopefully it helps out a lot of people. Again, I would love to go through more of these questions with some other female streamers on the show in the future. So hopefully we'll get them on.
We have Tobo Slayer in here. I know she's been quite successful.
Right. We have a lot of new female true partners too since the new round. So we'll get some of them on for sure. Cool. All right. So Pandyru has a question. They say, do you think pure networking can only get you so far with building your viewership? There's a lot of text following that, but that's sort of the core question. Do you guys think that there is a limit to how much you can network to grow your stream, or is it sort of limitless? I'll start this. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, sorry. I'm actually, I feel like I'm in the middle of that right now. I feel like networking does get you to a point, but there's a point where if you're trying to grow alongside people, you might lose more people than you gain. So like, obviously networking is a huge part of streaming, but I feel like there is a limit, and it's kind of what I feel like I'm kind of going through at the moment, and it's trying to find that balance. But when it comes to networking, there will be a point where if you're raiding or streaming with certain people, that you're going to lose some of your audience to them, and it's going to feel like you're losing more than you're gaining, and it's going to be hard. But I mean, to get to a certain point, you do need a network, but it's kind of, once you get to a certain point, is figuring out what to do from there. But that's my personal experience. I don't know about anybody else.
And so I'm sure you've been networking for a while, basically. It seems like I would think that for most people, networking is not really going to be capping them at any point until you've been doing it for a long time. And then maybe you've been networking with the same people and not kind of expanding or something. But Velok, what are your thoughts on networking?
So networking doesn't mean anything if your stream isn't good. So just remember that. Like, you can definitely go network with people, and if your stream is not on point at all, it's not going to do you any good, and you just wasted a bunch of time. Like, you might have found somebody that you enjoy watching. That's great. But you didn't do anything to promote yourself at all. Like, you're not helping yourself out at all. Like, so stream content needs to be on point. But I think networking has a lot of opportunity there, but only if you do it right. And like, so don't just network just because, oh, this person has viewers. Like, network because, oh, this person is a streamer and they're really good at it and I really enjoy this content. And they also have a community. If they don't have an actual community, they don't have an actual following. So you got to remember that. So if they don't have a following, they're not going to listen to the streamer when they say, go check this person out.
Right. Yeah. You can't just network with anybody, essentially. Yeah. Be strategic with it.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Britt, what are your thoughts on networking? Does it have diminishing returns after a point, basically?
Yes and no. Networking is kind of a weird topic, and I have like a few thoughts on it. I don't network in a traditional sense because I only network, so to speak, through the friendships that I build. So I find like people and I interact with them both in and outside of Twitch. And I build friendships, not like business partnerships so much. There are some streamers that I interact with because I enjoy their personality. Most of the people I quote unquote network with have smaller communities than I do, but I don't really care so much about that as much as I do care about interacting with those individuals. I mean, I'm very good friends with another streamer who only has like maybe 700 followers compared to my almost 5,000, but I don't care that he doesn't get the same views as me. I like him. He's fun. We talk about each other and we have a good time. And if I meet another streamer who's bigger than me, I also, and I feel like they're doing a good job and I like their stream and I like their personality. We share some things in common. You know, maybe we can start kind of shouting each other out and stuff like that. So I don't like networking for networking's sake. If you're just making kind of a businessy relationship to grow yourself, I don't really like doing that. I mean, not that I would say don't ever do it. If that's something you want to do to grow yourself, you can grow through networking, but building friendships, I think, is way more important. And in the long term, you're going to make more solid connections with people if you are making those friendships and not so much just like a business sharing kind of deal. In terms of the limitations of networking, I've seen it work both ways. I have seen somebody who networked with a big streamer, got them a little bit of a boost. Initially, the sharing got them partner even. Now their averages are back down into like the 40s because really that community didn't belong with them and didn't particularly enjoy their content. So while they got a temporary windfall, didn't actually amount to much in the long term because they didn't really share enough in common. I've seen another streamer, though, who got lucky, so to speak. I mean, he's a good guy. I don't know how many of you might be familiar with like Cletus Buford, somebody I played with on Twitch RP a lot. Good guy, does a lot of fun stuff. He happened to develop a relationship with Burke Black relatively recently in a group of those guys, and it has skyrocketed his numbers. So he networked with kind of the right person. And not only do they fit well together, but it has been a major windfall for him, shot him up into partner, done a great job. So networking is a little bit of luck as well. If you network with the right person and they happen to be really big, you might be in for some huge growth and some big potential there. But you can also kind of screw yourself by networking with the wrong person and then become disappointed. So that's why I say find the right people and make those friendship networking decisions, not just a business decision. Don't do that.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think also the problem there is that networking is such a vague term and it encompasses so many different things you can do because there is value in just going and hanging out and being a part of smaller streams that aren't like optimal networking streams, whatever that means, you know? So it all depends on what you're doing with networking because you can go into very carefully picked other streams that are your size and network with them and cross promote, or you can network by going to smaller streams and just, you know, like Britt said, making real friends. And that's sort of what we stress is like real networking here is, you know, you can't cheese networking if you want to do it right. It takes a lot of time and there's not really a great fast way to do it, in my opinion, at least. You guys have any different thoughts?
I feel like I got lucky with how quickly I've grown. So I try to go out of my way and find smaller streamers that I feel like put the effort in, have good content, and like try and help them out, hang out in their chats, like rate them. I try and do that all the time. And that's my version of networking. So I like finding and trying to give them that little boost that they need to like push them to keep going. Like I really enjoy doing that. But yeah, definitely what he said, like trying to do it just as like a business thing, like is the best route. Like I've made most of my friends that I talk to every day now, I met through. So
right. Yeah, that's another great way too, is to give back to people. That's still networking in a sense. Even if you're not directly benefiting from it, you're helping others. So
yeah,
good point as
Even
well.
Little things like auto hosting people that you've enjoyed and giving, you know, your viewers somebody to watch when you're offline. Those little things are just, it's a nice way to kind of share the love, you know?
Yep. Absolutely agree. Sweet. All right. Good discussion. Thanks for the question there. Next question is from Meemaw, and this one's less Twitch related as much as just gaming, but it does affect all you guys, I think. So Epic Games announced their Epic Store that just got released. So basically, the question from Meemaw was, what do you think of that, and do you think it's going to affect Steam at all? What do you guys think of that so far?
I don't think it's going to affect Steam at all. That would be like saying, Best Buy and Amazon both sell video games. Do you think the prices are going to drop? No. They're not. They're going to make their money, and they might have little sales to compete with each other from time to time, but I don't think having another game purchasing platform is really going to affect things. And if you're talking in terms of pricing, I don't think it's really going to do anything. It's like GameStop and Best Buy or Amazon, and they all still sell the games for the same prices for the most part. You know, they're not super undercutting each other. Games aren't going to become $1. You know, maybe little things here and there, but I don't think it's going to do much.
Yeah, by the way, so Beardy brings up a good point too, because Discord is their store too, which recently got announced. So all these new companies launching stores of their own to compete with Steam. Kind of interesting to think about. Vel, do you have any thoughts on this?
Not really. I really don't know too much about it. I know that a lot of people have tried to do it before. I know like Razer did one. Microsoft has one. There's a couple others. But Steam is established. That'd be like saying like somebody's going to come by and try to be the next Amazon. Like no one's going to come by and try to be the next Steam. Like and have it work. You know,
give you options though. I mean, you'll have places to shop around, just like now. I mean, hey, who's got the cheapest key? Is it Green Man Gaming? Is it Steam? Is it Humble Bundle? I mean, same thing. It's just now you've got Epic added into the fray. So
right. Yeah, it's interesting. I think kind of what Velox said is right in a sense where Steam is. It's just been around for so long and doing this that I think it's always going to be the first thing you think of when you go to buy a game somewhere. Yeah, I mean, if you make certain games exclusive to certain clients, that's one way to kind of force people to use a client. But if you have the same game on multiple platforms, I feel like Steam, as long as the price is still decent, that's going to be where people go most of the time, just because it's what they're used to. And even if, you know, one thing that Beardy and some of the other guys mentioned is Epic and Discord have better cuts for the developers. The problem is they don't have the same audience that Steam does, the same user base. Even with like games like Fortnite on Epic, I still would argue that Steam is a much bigger audience to sell to, essentially.
That's why their cut is better, is because they don't have the audience. And maybe most likely, when they get maybe a bigger share of the audience, it'll probably level itself out. So, I mean,
yeah, it could. I'm not sure how that all works, but yeah. Anyway.
I think that if anybody could give Steam a run for money, it would be Epic. But I think there's a thing that I don't know if you guys are a part of, but Epic has their creator code, and I was told that you can use that in all of Epic Store stuff. So I think that's Yeah,
that is actually very big. I think that's enough of a difference that it could, especially because, so for anyone who doesn't know, basically the Epic Store, similar to how you can use support the creator code on Fortnite, you'll be able to use this for any game, or the developers will have the option to include it for their game to let creators on YouTube and Mixer and Twitch support them. And get paid essentially to support the game. So that I think could be really big if they execute it right, because streamers will want to push people to use Epic. So if that rolls out right, it could be really big. We'll see.
Or you could see Steam come up with something similar as they start competing with each other.
That's true, and that would be a win for streamers either way.
Yeah, which is all around good for streamers. Yeah,
yeah, all good for us.
Hopefully, cross our fingers on that one. But
yeah,
more competition makes better products. So
absolutely.
Good stuff. Cool. All right. Well, I think that's most of the questions that I've actually seen tagged in from chat. If you guys, again, if you asked a question and we didn't answer it, please re-ask it and tag @TRUgaming so I see it in red. And if you thought of a new question or a follow-up question to something that we talked about, feel free to drop it in there right now. I do want to take a moment while we have some chance here to talk about discoverability, because there's been a video kind of going around on YouTube talking about how Twitch makes it really hard to grow. And even if you're streaming very well and doing a lot of the best things, you're already at a disadvantage because of how Twitch works as a platform right now compared to things like Instagram or YouTube or even Twitter. There's not like a great discover feature on Twitch right now. You know, if you're on Instagram, you have the discover tab. YouTube will suggest videos for you, and you can tag things and kind of use keywords and ways to show up in the searches and thumbnails. Twitch really doesn't have a great way to service smaller streamers to kind of get themselves featured more right now. You know, I mean, your best bet is to stream a certain game and use a title, and the problem is a lot of stuff happens in the stream and not actually on the browsing portion of Twitch, if that makes sense. So what do you guys think of trying to get discovered on Twitch? Do you think Twitch needs to do things more on their side? Do you think streamers should just be using other platforms more, like YouTube, to support themselves?
I think.
Go ahead.
Are you talking about the Harris Heller video? I watched. Was that what it was?
I think so. Yeah, I gotta look up the name. It was some guy talking at the camera.
Yeah. So I just watched that video, and I was gonna bring that up too. And he's 100% right. Like, you basically, if you want to make it on Twitch, you need to grow your audiences in other platforms like YouTube, you know, Twitter, Facebook, like even Mixer, because they have a better discoverability than Twitch does. If you want to, and then bring them over to Twitch, like that's the way to do it right now. And then he went on to say that Twitch needs to add features like now in order to keep to, you know, help out, like have one guy dedicated on Twitch to like a game, like, or obviously something like Fortnite, you need multiple people, like literally going through all the streamers, finding one that they like and throwing them up on like a half-hour featured on the front page, like somebody doing that in every game, like something like that needs to be done, like to help people grow. But he was saying that you need to grow audiences on other platforms and bring them to Twitch is the best way to do it right now.
Right. Yeah. I think even just adding some sort of discover tab would be big, because right now I think the only way you can really discover people is the front page will suggest random channels to you. It's not really clear why they get suggested. And then, of course, you can just go through and manually browse directories. But adding some sort of either like a tab for discovering new streamers. One thing he mentioned in the video was having like a curated list of underrated channels that would get picked every week and featured somewhere. But the biggest question I have for you guys is, do you think Twitch should be changing things, or should streamers just be using more platforms to grow themselves? Velok, what are your thoughts on this?
I think it makes sense for everybody for Twitch to be adding in more features for discoverability, because in the end, like Twitch is making, they'll end up making more money if people flock to more streamers, because like a lot of people are, I wouldn't say a lot of people, but there are people that will just stick to the same people all the time. But if you have like, you will probably like these streamers, you know, every day, like there's new streamers or something, there's a chance that they could grow and like go into other channels, and like those channels will continue to grow and make more money for Twitch and everything. And it only benefits literally everybody. You're finding new content. If you're a viewer, if you're a streamer, you're getting more viewers and you're able to provide the content to more people. And if you're Twitch, you're making money off of more people.
Mm-hmm.
So it only makes sense. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think that they definitely should add a feature in something.
I think that the situation they've got right now is okay. I mean, the front page does give random suggestions. They've got their like featured people, but there's also like the suggestions that are pretty much random, and that's all right. The new keywords are another way where you can say, you know what, I want to find some strategy people, and it's okay. I would love to see a discovery tab, the thing that Green brought up. I think that would be probably the best addition, is something that they can put up there that would maybe some sort of algorithm that looks at what you like to watch and maybe suggest some streamers. Beyond that, though, I don't necessarily like the idea of build your viewership somewhere else and drag it over to Twitch. I've had perfectly fine success just growing. I think some of it needs to be streamer patience. If you are doing a good job and putting forth your best effort on Twitch, I think you will see growth. Just you do have to have a certain amount of patience that may not be for everybody. And also, this is maybe a jerk sounding thing to say, but streaming isn't for everybody. Part of the problem with Twitch now at the moment and even previously and probably will be in the future is that there are a lot of people on there that probably shouldn't be. You've got people that are just doing a bad job. I mean, just to be fair, they're on there kind of occupying space, trying to kind of be a Johnny-come-lately to make it famous like Ninja or something like that. And you've got some, 15-year-old kid with a crappy webcam ignoring the community and staring at a screen and just all around doing a bad job. And so there's a lot of filler kind of nonsense that people have to sift through. And it's, as a viewer, that's kind of a pain in the butt too. You're trying to look for people and there are about 100 Fortnite streamers all doing a really awful job. Meanwhile, you didn't even notice the really cool guy with 20 viewers that you had to sift through all the garbage to find. So that is a little bit of the issue right there. There's so many people trying their hand at streaming that it's kind of a jumbled mess sometimes, especially depending on the category you're in.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think it's a great way to search for people right now, because they built out this great tagging system that they have a lot of tags in there, but it's not really very intuitive to use the tagging system to find stuff. I find myself using it more just going through directories and taking a glance at the tagging system. But it'd be cool if they worked out like a newer way to just sort by all games under this category, and kind of use that tagging system more to make it easier to find people.
Like a filter, like a little filter list. That'd be really cool.
Exactly. And there are other platforms that kind of supplement this. I mean, we talked to StreamKick the other week. They're kind of doing very similar things to this. There are a lot of other platforms that do reviews and other ways to make yourself stand out. But it'd be nice if Twitch would just put them on the actual platform, because the problem that we're running into, which is the whole discussion here, is that you have to use other places to grow on this place, which I don't think that's really true for other platforms like YouTube. Like if you want to go on YouTube, you can pretty much just do it on YouTube for 90% of people, I would say. Whereas Twitch, you can do it on Twitch alone, but I think the majority of people have to use other platforms to supplement that and find new ways to stand out. Like YouTube, maybe you're making YouTube videos and directing people to your stream instead of just streaming great content. You have to do that to grow yourself. So I just think in general, Twitch could definitely improve on this a lot. I hope that they do over the next year. We'll have to wait and see. But any last thoughts on this one, guys?
They did tweet out when they did TwitchCon about having like a discoverability thing, right? Like it was. I think I was just looking at it, like having like a featured thing for just small streamers. Like they did tweet about that at TwitchCon and in 2019. Oh, really? They were extremely vague. But they did tweet saying that they were going to try and do stuff like that. Yeah. They were like, we're not going to tell you what it is, but we're having discoverability for small streamers. They did tweet that out, and that was a big thing.
They seem to be making improvements for small streamers, from the affiliate program to all of the other stuff they keep adding in. And now, like, when new users come to Twitch, they pick games that they like, and it'll randomly follow some smaller streamers in that category. There's little things they keep adding in, and as long as they continue honing that, I would love to see more, but as long as they continue doing that, it'll make the job of smaller streamers a little bit easier to get noticed. But, that's, again, part of the problem of sharing space with, a million other people and trying to figure out how to get your voice heard.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But I just think it has a lot to learn from platforms like YouTube, where there's so many tools on YouTube to make yourself stand out, whether it's a thumbnail or a tag or things you include in the video details, or you can do keyword research, things like that. There's a lot of tools.
Thumbnails would be neat.
Yeah, exactly. Think about, because right now the only thumbnails you really have are the auto-generated ones from some random part of your stream. Yeah. Imagine like being able to upload your own thumbnail in the directory for a game. That'd be kind of interesting to help yourself stand out more. So anyway, we'll see. Looks like Magzy just tweeted the actual thing from Twitch.
I think this should be the right one, but it was vague, but they did say that.
Okay. See, okay, yeah, this just says new featured sections on the homepage. To me, it just looked like what's already there, with just featuring random streamers, but maybe there's more coming. Unclear.
Yeah, like I said, it's extremely vague, but
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, I think that's a pretty good discussion point there. By the way, thank you guys all for the support that you've been dropping. We got some subs and bits from Emerald Point and Reaper and Freckles. So thank you guys for those. Still looking for some more questions from chat. If you guys want to get something answered, now's a great time to ask. Just right now, seeing a bunch of comments. Panama Joe says, "Sucks that you can't multi-stream as an affiliate or partner." Yeah, kind of, sort of. Not a huge deal for most people, I would guess.
It could cause some crazy issues, though. I mean, it might help Mixer, but then you get people multi-streaming onto Twitch and Mixer simultaneously, and then you're filling up Mixer with a bunch of those affiliates trying to make their way, and it could turn Mixer into another chaotic mess like some people find Twitch to be.
Yeah. I back when multi-streaming and really Mixer came out, that kind of was trendy for a bit, but from what I saw, it was very annoying for communities to only see half the chat when they're trying to talk to somebody. Yeah, so I think multi-streaming is very niche when you should actually use it. The best time I see it is for like big events from a company or like dev streams or something where you just want to get as much publicity as possible, and the chat really isn't as important. So I don't think most streamers need to be worrying about that, I would say. All right, so we had a couple questions from the Discord from last week. Someone asking about YouTube Rewind. It's not really Twitch, but did you guys see all the YouTube Rewind drama?
I have no idea.
Most hated video in history.
So as of yesterday, YouTube Rewind, which is YouTube's yearly kind of end of the year celebration thing.
Oh God!
They made a video and it became the most disliked video in YouTube history, which surpassing Baby by Justin Bieber as the second place. So wow. It doesn't really directly involve Twitch, but I mean, Ninja was in the video, a few people who stream on Twitch, and it's definitely very related to the content creator space. I don't know if you guys have any quick thoughts on that whole situation with YouTube Rewind. Twitch hasn't done anything like that yet, but any thoughts?
Downvoting is just kind of memey, people do that with videos just to kind of participate in a, I don't know, like negativity train. So yeah, Ninja was on there. Is he really a YouTuber? Not really. He's just kind of a Twitch streamer. They put celebrities on there. Really, it's just YouTube's way of trying to self-promote themselves more than anything. I mean, their Rewind thing, it's not that significant, but you get a lot of teenagers up in arms that are all angry that PewDiePie or some other random person isn't on there. So they go in and downvote the video, and then it becomes a big old trend and meme, and that's what happens. I really, honestly couldn't care less.
That's fair. Yeah, so from when I looked at it, basically the core issue that a lot of YouTubers are talking about is that they've turned it into an ad system instead of like a real celebration of the community, because they leave out anything that's not advertiser friendly, which is PewDiePie, because he's had a bunch of drama this year. But other people like Shane Dawson and a number of other big YouTubers who had a very big years but were left out of it. And then also the video itself is just kind of a mess if you watch it, and nobody really fits into it. So I don't want to get too in depth on it because it's not really related to Twitch, but you should definitely check it out and see what all the buzz is about if you get a chance, because it's at least funny to watch. I'll give it that. All right. Okay, question coming here from Ricer_B. Says, if a person is only able to stream 1 day a week because of schedule conflict, but it is a consistent day, is it worth it to do random streams when free time is available, or just stick to the 1 day that is scheduled? Good question. So what do you guys think of adding in bonus streams, essentially? If you're consistent on the 1 day a week you're live, should you try and do bonus streams or just stick to that 1 day a week?
I think it depends on your goal. If your goal is like stream and community growth, then probably not. If your goal is just to have fun and just get on, share some good times with people, interact with an online community, I would say yes, go ahead and just do the random streams. My advice would be that 1 day a week isn't really enough for a growth perspective in the first place, because you're not there enough to have people kind of become attached and find you more memorable. 1 day a week is probably too hard to get some traction for yourself. So if you are just streaming for the enjoyment of it, yes, throw those extra streams on. But if you're like, I could extra stream and get some new followers today, you might disappoint yourself, because it'll be hard to do as you're not on at a scheduled time.
Right. Yeah, it all comes down to what you want to get out of the stream, right?
Yeah.
Kind of thinking through that ahead of time. Velok, what are your thoughts?
I think if you're gonna throw in random streams in the middle of the week or whenever, and you have one day that you consistently start on that, like at the same time, that might as well just be considered another random stream. Because if you're streaming a bunch of random days, but you have one day a week where like I'm gonna be here this day, that's just for anybody who catches you on one of your random streams. That time that you're on consistently is just another random stream for them, because
That's a good point.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, there's no consistency there. So the people that you do pick up on your random streams are not necessarily going to be there for the day that you're there all the time.
Yeah, my only thought there is that one day a week is really hard to grow off anything, because it's
very hard.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're consistent about it, it's just there's so little content going out.
I'm just speaking from a growing your channel perspective.
Yeah.
If you want to just do it for fun, that's awesome. Like stream as much as you want whenever you can. But streaming for one day a week, or streaming one day a week consistently and streaming a bunch of other random days whenever you can, that's neither one of those is a good model for growth.
Right. M4gzy, what are your thoughts on this kind of situation?
I feel like, I don't know, if you can only stream one day and then you make it clear that you're going to have random streams and you put that below your stream and you're like, I'll be on this one day. I'll do my best to do random stream. Sorry, I got like hair everywhere. I'll do my best to do like other streams. Then, I mean, if that's all you can do, then you kind of have no other option, right? If you want to grow on Twitch and you can only stream one day guaranteed, then that's what you got to do. But you just got to make it clear to everybody. And what I say is, if you have your one scheduled day, if you're online playing video games, you should, like, that's what I do. I don't think I've ever played games off stream in the past like 8 months I've been doing it. So, but I mean, if that's your only option, then it wouldn't hurt to do random streams, definitely.
Yeah, I would say my gut says do the random streams at this point. Just because, I mean, again, like Britt said, it comes down to what you really want out of your stream. But my guess would be you're still going to grow fine. If you do one day a week consistently and you just occasionally have other times to stream, I think that's going to be more helpful than harmful to you. Just stream whenever you can, as opposed to, you know, sticking to this random schedule that you're not just putting out enough content to get noticed, right? Because, I mean, yes, you're consistent with that one day, but you're just not getting seen if you're only streaming one day a week. So at that point,
these scenarios, though, to be honest, you're going to struggle to grow. Either random streams or one day, it's going to be
right.
I can't imagine it, honestly. It's going to be really, really difficult to grow.
Buckle up.
It's making the best of a bad situation. Because, I mean, some people are just in this.
All you could do. I mean,
yeah. Some people are just stuck here where that's, yeah, like you said, all they can do. So just work with what you can, man. And I would say go for it. It's not going to hurt you. All right. So before we get to our next question from Twitch chat, we have one from the Discord chat from the last week that was really interesting. So I'll get your thoughts on it. So this comes from Christical. She says, how do you react or what do you say when a viewer states that they have donated to you bits or whatever, a small or big amount? I don't want to diversify them as it's still sport. So when they donate to you and you have already thanked them, chatted with them when this happened or when they showed up on your stream, but they state that the fact that they donated to you, you owe them something. So basically, how do you deal with that when an entitled viewer sort of appears who has donated to you in some way and so deserves more attention from you? Have you guys ever run into that?
Holy shit.
All right.
Okay, so I don't know if I've necessarily had anybody like that, but I don't want that kind of person in my channel. I don't care how much money you donate or if you sub longer than somebody else or if you haven't subbed or donated at all. Like that's just insane. I would get that person out of your community very fast because they're toxic as fuck. Like I want nothing to do with that, man. You don't get anything.
That's not a thing on Twitch. If anybody's doing that, they're going to get the same response in any stream. It might be more mild depending on what streamer it is you're talking to, and it might be less mild if you're talking to Velok. But if you're talking to me, I'm going to say that's just not how things work here. I'm sorry if you misunderstood the way Twitch and or this stream works. I'm here, you know, providing as much interaction, entertainment, and whatever else I can to you. But there's no, I am not going to owe you anything. And if you say that to the wrong streamer, they're just going to, you know, maybe just tell you to F off and or ban you. So it's just not good Twitch etiquette to expect something in return for contributing to a streamer. It just doesn't happen. It's weird and kind of a creepy thing to do.
Give me your love. I paid for it. Okay.
Show me your boobs.
Mixtape, any thoughts to add on this? Have you run into this yourself at all?
I haven't really run into it, but I've seen it. You know, like people get mad. Like I've watched bigger streamers. Like I've watched Cypher PK, and I watched him deal with somebody donating him $60 and then getting mad that he wouldn't play with them. Like I gave you $60. You should play with me now. And he was like, you know, it's too bad. Like I don't do that. Otherwise, I have to do that for everybody. And you know, on my stream, like I treat everybody the same because there's some people that can't afford to help you financially, so they're part of your streams every single day, and you know it's awesome. That's amazing support. And then there's some people that can't be a part of your stream that often, but like to donate to you. So you know, it's like everybody has their own way of support. Everybody gets treated the same way. It's like I'm thankful for all of it. Yeah, so I'm not going to go out of my So like I'm not going to go out of my way to do something special for somebody that gives me money when there's somebody that's on my stream every single day that can't do that. Like that's just not how it works.
Right. Yeah, so. I think this is really important to touch on too, because it can probably be something that a lot of new streamers fall victim to who aren't used to it. Like let's say you're new to streaming and you get a $100 donation out of nowhere. And then that person turns around and gets mad at you for not playing with them or something. And you know, you're very low on viewers. You've got maybe 5 viewers, and you're in the situation where maybe your best viewer or someone who watches all the time or donates a lot is now getting mad at you, and you get kind of upset because, you know, you're losing your viewers, but you don't want to make people mad. But so I think it's important people hear this if they're very new to streaming, because you're going to run into it at some point or see it at least on Twitch. I think especially girls see this more than guys.
Well, there are some streamers on Twitch, and I guess I've probably seen this more with some of the girl streamers we referenced earlier that kind of stream based off of their looks. They get all dressed up, and it's like, oh, every $5 donation, I'll do squats in front of the camera. Every this many subs, and I'll do push-ups, or I'll do this kind of thing for you. And you do have some who are intentionally kind of offering creepy services for money on their streams. So I guess especially for females, if you're a serious one, you might get weirdos coming in trying to get you to do stuff. But the fact is, there are some streamers that offer that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit of a weird area.
So it's like a problem with the platform.
All of my squats creepy.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit. Squats for subs.
Show feet on stream.
Yeah,
you don't want me squatting in front of a camera for any reason.
I just think the context is important, because it's easy to say like, man, just don't let that happen. Like, you know, that's stupid. But if someone drops into your stream and, you know, drops $5,000 or something, and then ask for something, it's gonna be hard, I think, for a lot of people to just flat out deny that person after donating $5,000. You know. So I like to keep those kind of situations in mind, but I still agree with you guys that that person still donated that money. You don't actually owe them anything, even though you might feel like it.
Might not say that you may not show some favoritism for people who tend to donate more often. I mean, I myself have like a little like wall of heroes thing at the beginning of my stream of the top 8 people who have ever donated any money to the stream. That's my way of saying, hey, cool, thank you guys. These are like, this is the wall of heroes of our awesome contributors. I'm not going to do like creepy favors or anything, but it won't say that you may not show some favoritism. So
right, yeah, you can definitely still show support or like gratitude
a little
to
love
someone.
Back to the people who have donated.
Right. It's just the key is not to feel guilty or like you owe something to someone, because they're donating you money at the end of the day. There was no agreement made when they gave that money, right? So important to remember. But great question from Christical. Any other questions or thoughts to add on from you guys for the next topic? Nope. All right, cool. All right, so a question from Friendly Neighborhood Vlad. Hello, Vlad. Says, do you feel like there's a lack of character/comedy streams on Twitch? So interesting. There's, I guess, in his kind of view, maybe there's a lot of just skill players or other types of streamers. Do you guys think there's a lack of comedy/character streamers on Twitch?
Well, Vlad, as someone who likes to do voices, I would say we are very underrepresented in the Twitchosphere. Yes. I don't do, like, I am not a character like Dr. Disrespect, but there isn't a lot of like humorous, you know, maybe voicey type people, RP and stuff like that, the people who really get into like funny stuff, and maybe even like you're talking stand up and stuff like that. But there isn't a lot of that. I would love to see more. I just in general, I love humor and fun and stuff like that. So, but it's different for everybody. Some people are just more serious because what they're doing, they are taking more seriously. And some people take kind of everything less seriously, like me, and make ridiculous voices and sing and do dumb crap on stream. So,
yeah, I mean, I agree that it's probably most people on Twitch are not doing this just because it's more effort. And it's not as easy to either be in a character as an extreme, I would say. But even just to
that'd be rough.
Right. Even just to try and be funny a lot to people, it's easier just to play a game casually and, you know, be good at a game or casually do your own thing instead of trying to entertain people.
It helps if you're always being an idiot in real life. So I find that works for me. When just off stream, I'm already probably one of the like weirdest people that I know. So it carries over well.
Gotcha. Maxi, what do you think about this? Is there a lack of comedy streamers? Do you consider yourself to be comedic at all, or what's the situation?
To be honest, I don't think there's a lack of any kind of streamers on Twitch. But I mean, like,
look around.
To be honest, no. Like most of the streamers I watch, like a lot of the big streamers, there's always some element of comedy, like all the time. Like you do have your pro players, but I mean, when it comes to a character, like you said, like there's very little of those, but. I mean, I prefer watching streams with like, you know, comedy and like laughing and having a good time, but I don't really see a shortage of that. Like there's definitely a lot of people that play games seriously, but when it comes to like, if you watch any of the big streamers, there's always some kind of like fun going on. So
right.
I wouldn't really necessarily say a shortage, but there's probably more serious players than like fun players.
Yeah, you'll find more of that in like the role play category. So if you're looking for that like role play tag, that's where a lot of the like character or RP or like, you know, different stuff will be. But most of Twitch is definitely not that.
Right. Vel, you probably, I would guess, factor comedy into part of your stream.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on this?
It depends on what you consider funny. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it also depends on like how connected you are, or like how attached to that streamer you are, because the streamer might do something that a lot of like their community sees a lot of, and like that might be humorous to them at some point. And a new viewer, they're like, "Why? Like, I don't understand what's going on." And it could just be that you just don't find that kind of stuff funny, and other people do. It's all perspective, I guess. Like being funny is weird because like the only way to be funny is to like have people perceive it as funny. Like you could do something and no one's gonna like it.
Like fart jokes. They're not
like
for
fart
everybody,
jokes.
but
yeah, exactly.
So I'll tell you that.
So it's all perspective, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you know, comedy is subjective, that's for sure. I would kind of argue, you know, like Maxie said, that comedy is pretty pervasive as far as when you look at some of the bigger streamers as you grow. I think most streamers factor in comedy to their channel entertainment to some degree. I mean, you have some really guys who are yelling and going extreme and way over the top, and then some guys who are just very memey and kind of sarcastic. And I would guess that most people factor in comedy as they grow, though. But if you look at the lower end, there's a lot of people who are just kind of casually streaming who are very not concerned with comedy overall. So, but character
maybe
streamers,
that comes with like quality of your, like as you grow as a streamer, maybe you kind of lighten up a little bit and, you know, continue adding in maybe what your normal humor might be. And it's different for everybody. So
right. And there's different types of humor too you can use. So most people probably find their own version of that, is my guess. But character streamers are pretty rare just because that's a lot more deliberate and work for sure. Definitely is. Thank you for the question though, Vlad. Appreciate you answering or asking that. Next question is from Swift Nation TV. And guys, we have about 15 minutes left, so now's the time to get questions in if you want to get them answered. Swift Nation TV said, how do you stay active and talkative and try to be interactive when there's nobody talking in chat to interact with? How do you deal with it? This is like the most common question for new streamers. So what do you guys think?
I think if you're worried about having nobody talking in your chat, is you have friends that you're playing games with that you can have good conversations with. That's the best thing to do, is play with friends that you know, like you can chat, always talking, having a good time. That's the best thing to do.
Right. Yeah, that just completely covers up the issue because you always have someone to talk to, right?
Yeah, that's not a bad option. It depends then, I guess, on what types of games you're playing. So that's not necessarily an option for me. So starting off, I did not have people playing the games with me. Instead, I kind of just imagined that there were people in the chat. So I would fill space, and I continue to do so even when my chat's not active, with things like describing what I'm doing in the game, making jokes like I normally would, like basically talking as if you do have a chat. If I'm playing something like an RPG, oh man, this quest is ridiculous. Okay, so what do I need to do now? Oh, that actually is a really cool sword. I think I should upgrade. So you can fill in space depending on what kind of game you're playing if you don't have other people to play with. So there are options. It just basically means you've got to be more creative in the beginning if you don't have an active chat. But try to imagine that you do. Try to imagine you have people that want to know what you're doing. So explain that game to them, because a lot of the people who do come into games, some of them may be new, some of them might want to learn about the game, or they're just watching for gameplay. And if you're explaining what's going on the screen, that's a nice way to basically narrate your actions, be a narrator. So that'll kind of fill up space in a very natural, fluid kind of way. Narrate yourself.
Right. It's like thinking out loud, basically, and commentating what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it.
And like Grim just said in the chat, like there's some people that'll just be lurking and not able to type, but they appreciate you actually describing what you're doing. Like,
right. Yeah. The audio listeners too. That definitely is important there. Veli, what are your tips on this bit?
Reactions to things. I like to focus on trying to be funny. And so any sort of thing that happens in the game, I try to react to it and, you know, just try to build off of that and just try to make it interesting for the people who are watching or listening. Because you could be like fighting a boss and like that'll be cool, but if the boss smacks you in the face and you don't do anything, like that's gonna be boring. But if the boss smacks you in the face and you freak out over it, try to make it like a little bit of a scene out of it or whatever, like that's gonna be a lot more entertaining than just, oh, he hit me, that sucks.
Yeah, so use your personality too, then, and that'll fill space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
One of my favorite tips here too is to have like topics prepared essentially to talk about when you go into a stream. You know, maybe you're excited by a movie that just came out, or some game that's coming out, or something crazy happened to you yesterday at work and you want to talk about it. And
oh yeah, at the start of a stream, that's a fantastic idea. I do that every day. I have and I get memed on it from my viewers all the time. They basically every day are telling me that my stream is actually 4 hours of talking and maybe like 5 minutes of gameplay. Because I start the stream every day with quite a bit of talking. I do have like a little list and a notebook that I keep next to me, and I'll write about things that I want to bring up on the stream in the beginning, and then whatever else comes into chat, we discuss. So that's a fantastic idea, and I use that every single stream. Every day I've got a list. So
yeah, I don't think it even has to be in the beginning or end of a stream. You can use those during gameplay or something if it's something where you can kind of be thinking about other things while doing it.
Yeah, like let chat debate. Like you don't even have to input, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Just having topics that you want to get like a debate going in chat. That'd be a cool topic to bring too. Whether you're talking about, you know, I think anime is terrible. Chat will explode when you say that. So, things like that.
Yeah, they do.
You can fuel them that way. Then not necessarily have it be all yours. As long as you've got some people in chat for that. If you're brand new and there's like 1 or 2 viewers, you might not be able to fuel much out of them. So it just depends on your situation. But if you've got even like 5 or 6 people, yeah, you say anime sucks, and you can probably get a really good discussion going.
Yeah, that's a good distinction when you're starting out.
I love K-pop. Discuss.
All great tips, guys. And if you're very new to streaming, this will be a struggle for you, and it's probably going to be sort of demoralizing at first, because I think a lot of people get in this situation where you start and maybe the first stream's not as bad because you're just excited by everything that's happening, but then like 2 or 3 streams in, you're tired of seeing no one in the chat and very demoralized. So just knowing that's going to happen and having ways to get around it can help. Another piece about that too is you may actually be streaming and people are watching but not saying anything. So if you have stuff like that prepared to talk about, that might actually incentivize them to start talking if you have points that they're interested in. When otherwise they might have just come in, see you sitting there talking about nothing and leave. So that helps you build a following. You do stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Cool.
All about that interaction.
Yes, exactly. But good question there from Swift Nation, I believe it was. Thank you for that. Hopefully it helps a lot of people. All right, we have about 10 minutes left here. So one of the interesting questions I saw, I don't know how you guys feel about this, was from Meemaw. It was in the Discord. She said, what do you guys think about giving your mods presents essentially for Christmas, or showing some sort of gratitude to your mods for Christmas? Have you guys thought about that at all? Yeah?
Yeah, I'm always thinking about doing something for your mods, because those are the people that, you know, like if you're not able to, they're interacting with the chat, they're bringing people out, they're like my mods, or I don't know about everybody else, but my mods go out into other channels and try and network for you. Like they're an extension of you. So I want to be able to give back to them as much as I can. Like whether it's Christmas present or just randomly giving them something and like making them want to stay and showing them that you appreciate them. Because being a mod is a hard job. Like I wouldn't want to be a mod on something.
Yeah. I think that's good too, because it's a volunteer job too, right?
Yeah.
So if you have really good mods, that'll help. Not like in a manipulative way, but it makes them want to stick around if you're also going out of your way to do things you didn't have to support them. I think that's a good system. What do you guys think, Britt? Have you thought about this at all, or is this totally new to you?
Not really. I mean, I usually try not to show too much favoritism in terms of like what's going on in the stream. I guess if you're doing talking maybe something off stream and you want to like send them a Christmas card.
Yeah, I think that's what
Meemaw
was talking
about. I mean,
about.
I could see that. I don't have like tons of mods. I think we've got like 8 or something to have like some decent coverage, but I hadn't really thought much about it, because I usually was thinking like terms of in-stream kind of stuff, and like I was saying, I try not to show like too much favoritism. I thought more about like rewards for the community and doing like special holiday giveaways and you know, themed streams and stuff like that. But I don't think there's anything wrong with like the idea of sending out like Christmas cards or something. It could get a little odd if like people don't want to share too much personal information with you, like their address or something like that, for example, because I don't really live near any of my mods. I mean, we've got some that are in, I've got one in Europe, I've got one in Canada, you know, stuff like that, where it's like they're not really in a convenient place for me to actually give something to. And then I'm asking, you know, half a dozen, 10 people for their home addresses. And that might be like a little concern of mine, is that it might be crossing a little bit of an unusual personal line. But it also depends on the relationship you have with your mods. And if maybe you're closer with some of them, or maybe you have a really close relationship with all of your mods, it might depend on your individual community. So.
Yeah. And yeah, like Meemaw said, you could do things online too, like a Steam gift card or any gift card, really. You could send online without an address.
That's true too, yeah. There are some online options as well, yeah. So you could do a gift card or something.
Yeah.
Then you're not getting overly personal with people.
Right.
Yeah, I think like you said, like a stream giveaway for everybody, but mods would be something you do off stream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let them know that you appreciate them, because like I have my own chat for just mods, and we all talk in there. And so.
Gotcha. Vel, I know this, by your expressions, you're kind of like, hadn't thought about this, but what are your thoughts hearing about this essentially?
I think it's a really cool idea, to be honest. I think, because it definitely isn't easy. Like Maxi was, it's not an easy thing to be doing. Like you said, it's completely voluntary. Like they don't need to be there, and they don't need to help like promote your stream or be there to like keep chat rolling for you. Like they do a lot of things that like it's really difficult for a streamer to do while streaming. You know what I mean? I think it's a really great idea, and I think it's cool just to show that, you know, you do see that they are helpful for sure.
Right. Yeah, it's nifty, and I think, you know, it's going to take a little bit more effort from you, but it might help you develop some really.
Oh, it's going to take effort.
No, can't do it. Well, I think a lot of streamers would think that though. Like, yeah, it'd be nice, but I'm not actually going to do it. But if you make yourself do it, it might actually really help you in the long run, because keeping those people around can really help you build some very close mods that you trust, and build some really good relationships.
And the thing too, don't like, obviously, like people's Christmas, they have to buy things for a ton of people. So if you can't, like, don't try and like worry, oh, I can't do this for my mods. But if you're able to, and it's something you're able to do, then it's something nice.
Yeah, don't
even if it's like a DM, like just like, hey, like Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, like just want to say thank you, like anything.
Yeah, just going out your way to do something for them, I think, is just enough. And yeah, like Maxi said, don't like kill yourself trying to shell out money and take out a loan.
Can't
just
get
to
anything
give
from my girlfriend. I spend all my money on my mods.
Worth it.
No, I don't have a girlfriend.
All right, so last question here, which ties exactly into this, is from Panama Joe. He says, how do you go about finding a good mod? So sort of before you give them something, how do you find them in the first place? This will be our last question of the day. What?
Craigslist
Tinder?
ads.
I mean, mostly.
Did you say Tinder?
Yeah, you
And
guys can
Craigslist.
get your mods off of Tinder? Seriously?
These days, man. Seriously though, what do you guys think?
Mods are one of the hardest things to find. Obviously you got to start with people you know. Like if you have people you know that are watching your streams, I would start with them. But it's hard because most of the people you find in a stream, you have no idea what's going on. You don't know, have no idea who they are or anything. So I stick with people that are in my chat the most and are the most interactive, are the most helpful, and then those are who you pick for mods. But I start with people that you know that can be in your chat while you're live.
Right.
So
who've spent the time there that you're very familiar with already, essentially.
Yeah. And if you're a new streamer, it's hopefully you'll have friends that are able to be there and be those mods for you to start out with. And then
Right.
So.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think there are some key things to consider with mods. Availability and personality being probably the top ones. You have to make sure that not only are they available to help out, but also they want to. But they have the right kind of helpfulness was brought up there. You know, they're already interacting with your chat. They share maybe some of your ideas, ideologies. They behave the way you want your community to kind of emulate, because mods are also going to be a little bit of not necessarily like role model, but they're going to be kind of another way that viewers can see what your stream is like. They're going to look at not only you, but also the behaviors and attitudes of your mods. So, if you're putting toxic people as a mod and they're yelling at viewers, that's also going to affect your community. But if you're putting people that are similar to you and have the right kind of attitude, that's what you want to look for. So are they there when you need them? Do they behave in a way that you like and want to help represent your stream? And if so, you've probably got the right person. So
Yeah, mods are an extension of yourself.
yes.
So.
Yeah, that's a good point too. They help you represent your brand, so it's very important to be picky about them, right?
Absolutely.
Cool. Vel, any final thoughts on this one?
They have to be that viewer that just keeps chat rolling for you, and stops certain things from happening in chat. Like if chat's going a certain way and you don't like that, they need to be the ones to be like, all right, guys, let's go on to the next topic real quick before this starts getting weird. You know what I mean? Like they have to Brihtwulf said, they have to have the same ideas and ideologies that you do, because they are helping control your stream. And if they don't if they don't tackle things before it gets crazy, then you
Before
have
a lynch mob forms.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you got to have a mod that, if you're busy doing something and not being as interactive, they're welcoming the new people that come to your stream and making them feel like a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they can answer questions and stuff for you if you're engaged in a boss fight in your game or something.
Yep.
Absolutely. Great tips. And yeah, it just takes a long time, I would say, overall. Don't be in a rush to find a great mod. You can, Max, you said, you can find some placeholders or some friends who can kind of do it for the meantime. But finding good mods who are going to be worthwhile and stick around for a while is going to take time. So don't be in a rush to do that. Cool. All right. Well, that's going to be our last question for today, which means we're about to wrap up the show. So thank you guys all for watching. Really quickly, let's get some sign-off thoughts from you guys. Brihtwulf, anything you want to say to people who are watching, where they can find you, anything like that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just twitch.tv/Brihtwulf or Brihtwulf.tv. I'm actually going to be continuing my stream after this. I start at 9 a.m. in the morning, so this is in the middle, but I really was excited to be a part of the podcast. So this kind of is in the center of my stream. And then when I'm done, we're going to go over and do some Conan Exiles with a new DLC. So I'm around Monday through Friday, mornings and afternoons. So definitely come check out. Very chill, safe for work, lots of coffee, fun, and hanging out. So
awesome. Make sure to check him out, guys. Drop him a follow. If a mod can drop a link, actually, that'd be great. M4gzy, thank you also for coming on here so much. Anything you want to say to people?
Yeah, I'm obviously twitch.tv/M4gzy. I have a site, M4gzy.tv as well. I stream 7 days a week, which is pretty rough, but I mostly do pro Fortnite stuff recently, so if that's something you're interested in, I play in pro scrims. We've been doing it the past couple weeks, so that's mostly what I've been doing. So it was fun being on here as well. Cool talking with you guys, and I learned things as well too from this stuff. So
awesome. Well, it was great to have you on, and we'll definitely see if we can get you on in the future for another show.
Yeah.
Awesome. Veloy, last thoughts before we sign off here.
Thank you guys for coming out. Really do appreciate it. If you guys don't know who I am, I'm Veloc, and I stream Monday through Friday, Eastern Standard Time, 8:30 a.m. And starting in January, that's going to change to a much more open schedule. So stay tuned.
Sweet. Excited. So this has been Stream Key, guys. We do this live every single Friday from 11 to 1. And you can catch us here on this channel with special guests each week. Definitely look to have you guys both back on in the future. And if you guys listening right now know someone who you think would be good to be on this show, let us know and we can try and get them on. This is also available on Spotify, iTunes, podcasts, YouTube, everything. Just search for Stream Key or Twitch and you'll probably find us. And yeah, we're going to actually transfer over to Die Bear now because we're doing this super long charity event all weekend for Objective Zero. So I hope you guys stick around for that, or go check out Brihtwulf because he's streaming too. And with that said, we will see you guys later. So have a good one. Adios.
Later, guys.
Love you.